Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday night coffee talk with Radical Geek and our Sunday night live stream. Let's see here. We've got Stacy and Gretchen Dawn Shredder, Air Frying Auntie, and Visual Keto. And I know more people are going to show up shortly. Oh, hey, and Cool Kid has joined us, which, by the way, Cool Kid Keto, by the way, is putting a release out with a link for some special coffee to order that helps benefits veterans. Cool Kid Keto, if you send that stuff over to Air Frying Auntie over on Facebook, I bet she can post a link here in the chat for people to take a look at. And let's see, what else we got here? Oh, and MJ. So, wow, good night. And oh, Visual Keto says they're having their 5th cup, so they are having a relight. Seems like a good plan. Gretchen is laying in bed due to being sleepy. Sharon has joined us and hoofing it. Happy first day of May. How exciting. So, exciting night too, because I found like a crazy coffee drink for us to make. The drink tonight is the Yuan Yang. It is a drink out of Hong Kong. Hey, Just Renee has made it. Hooray, it's been forever. Even though I talk to you all the time. But the Yuan Yang is a different drink out of Hong Kong. And it is a mixture of coffee and milk tea. So you can have it cold or warm. And tonight I'm choosing to have it warm. Although I think it would probably be really nice iced, and we might do an iced version at some point just for fun. But yes, so tea, coffee, and tea. Sometimes I get mixed up where I'm pointing on the green screen. So, should be pretty interesting. So, oh, and Cool Kid Keto says they're doing meal prep. So Hans will get that info over. Renee is making a pun about May, M-A-Y-D it. So, oh, we're happy in the chat here. So, this coffee drink is, I've got a few things going here. It'll be Ceylon tea, which is the traditional tea that you make the Yuan Yang with. And then I've got, honestly, my coffee tonight is just from a grocery chain that we have here called Fresh Time. They have 100% Arabica organic beans, and they were on sale, so that's what I've got tonight. So, and this is a drink of the people. So instead of some of my fancier gadgets, I've got here my little coffee gator with its little permanent filter. So, you know, we're not being extravagant here. But I think what we want to do is go ahead and get the tea going. Now, some tips for you. If you have access to an international grocery or an Asian grocery, buy your loose leaf tea there. It's a way less expensive than a fancy tea shop, but often higher in quality. And I'm having a little struggle opening it, so you'll have some crinkles here for a minute because it's just in a little plastic bag. I'll scoop it out. I have a teaspoon, and I'll have leftover tea for another time as well. I'm going to put 3 teaspoons of the loose leaves here. Now I will tell you, you want to use a nicer loose leaf. Let me see if I don't know if you'll be able to really see them because they're so small, but get up and show you. You want leaves. Okay, you can't really see that at all. It's too teeny tiny and thin, but it's a whole leaf versus the powder that you would get in your tea bag. And you want that because it's going to impart a better flavor and it's a bit higher quality to your teas. And I know I said this is a drink of the people, but plain black tea, even in loose leaf, is very affordable. So let's see what we've got here. I see that Hungry Heath and the Warden have joined us. So It's good. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, and Hungry Heath is asking if I just said Coffee Gator. Yes, Coffee Gator. They're a fun brand. They've got a lot of very economical but yet high quality devices. I have my steel French press is also from Coffee Gator. So they're a good company, very nice. They actually had at one point in one of the devices that I had came with these little steel espresso cups that I really dug. And I asked them, because I couldn't find them separate, and I was like, hey, I really would like more of these so I can have like the full set of 4 or 6. And they wrote back and said, oh, I'm sorry, we don't sell those separate from the device, but here's a coupon to get your device though. Just buy a second one, and here, you'll get it for 25% of the total cost. So that's some good customer service. So, oh, Hofanet's noticing that my shirt is blending in with the green screen. Yes. Well, so now I have Pelotonia plus coffee, which seems appropriate. Cyclist and coffee go together. So I've got my tea. I put it in here. Again, you've seen this teapot before. It's the clear. It has the fine mesh so that you don't get any leaves in your tea. And we're just going to go ahead and add the water to it. Let me move some stuff so I can do that a little easier. And you'll see it brews real fast, and we'll want to let it sit and steep for a couple minutes. You don't got to be crazy. You want enough water, but not so much that you are going to pour it out the spout. And you can see right there on the screen how nicely it is going to brew up. You put the lid to keep the warmth in. Oh, the warden's asking if they miss it. Are we making tea or coffee? We are making both. The Yuan Yang is tea and coffee mixed together. More specifically, it's a milk tea. This drink comes out of Hong Kong. That's where it originated. Let me just give this a little bit of a spin for you. So, and we're using Ceylon tea, which is the traditional tea for it. You can also use oolong. Blends in really nice. But the Ceylon kind of gets a nice little citrusy sort of back taste to it. Of course, you'll never notice that because the thing with milk tea is that it's very sweet. Oh, hey, Lisa. Lisa has joined us. And what I have here in this bowl, which you can't really see because it's white and the substance in it is also white, is I made a KETOFIED sweetened condensed milk, which is the other part of milk tea. You can also use in milk tea evaporated milk and either not sweeten it or sweeten it to taste. But traditional would be the sweetened condensed milk. This drink, this Yuan Yang, was very traditional and popular with street vendors. So a lot of the beverages and things that we've talked about go back to like elite royalty and military and things like that. But this was a drink of the people. So, slightly less classy, slightly less finicky or bougie. So we'll take our sweetened condensed milk. And I'm going to put it into my measuring cup. Just so you can see. And you can see that it's really thick. All I did to make the sweetened condensed milk was take some allulose and some heavy cream and melt it together in a pan and reduce it. So super easy. You just let it, once it reduces and just before it starts to turn to caramel, you shut it off and you can see it gets nice and thick. We let our tea steep. And part 2 is the coffee. So this is a 4-cup brewer. And of course, all of this, like I say, doesn't matter how much I'm making. It's a 3 grind, just your standard grind. The warden is asking if we could use a dairy alternative. And the answer is, I don't know for sure. I mean, you can. Will it be the same beverage? It might have some textural issues. I would not recommend coconut cream from the can or the coconut milk with the cream in it from the can because it will overpower the flavors. And there's already a lot of flavors in it because you're mixing tea and coffee. But I don't see any reason why you couldn't. You probably want to find one of the nut milks. The macadamia milk is pretty thick, as are some of the refrigerator coconut milks, because they don't have the big fatty cream in it, and so it's not as exciting as it is. OP has joined us and says they think that this looks like an involved process, but so far it's not too bad. We already got the tea going, and it's going to be ready in a minute. And I'm just going to finish adding my coffee. This is a teaspoon. I should have used a tablespoon because it wouldn't have looked like so much coffee. But I also lost count, so now I'm eyeballing it. See, we're not weighing or doing anything crazy. It's literally, oh, that might be too much for me. But I am going to make my divot for brewing right in the middle. And where's my lid for this coffee? It's a pour over brew. Standard pour over with your permanent mesh, so very easy to clean up. And I'm just going to do like we always do for pour overs, and we're going to bloom it. So I'm going to start here in the middle and then slowly bring it out and just give it a little minute here to bloom for 30 seconds. Hey, Gigi's here. Good to see you join us tonight. So, but yeah, so I don't know if the almond milk will go down for and get that the condensed milk texture. But I bet you could still just sweeten it. It wouldn't be the first time that I've seen something that's just like regular milk texture that they've sweetened and been fine for milk tea. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, let's see. I already told you it's usually Ceylon tea and heavily sweetened, as you can tell from there. As you can see, I've got a 1 cup measure, and I'm not quite to the 1/4 cup, but I've got it in there, and we can add more if we want to. Lisa's asking me to repeat the name. It's the Yuan Yang. So Yuan Yang. It's an afternoon coffee beverage out of Hong Kong. And you can see one of the things with the cheaper is that, you know, some of the other ones don't drip when I'm blooming the coffee, and this definitely started to go right through. So I've got like a heavy duty coffee right down at the bottom, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be all crazy. And by the way, I'm just diving right in, so we'll slow down in a little bit. We'll stop and have a little bit of our water. So, and like a lot of these, I just need to give this a little bit of a lift to loosen up the leaves a little, and so it can brew a little more fully. There we go. Now we've got our tea. So now I will also tell you that the Yuan Yang traditionally was like 3 parts coffee to 7 parts of the black milk tea. Modern day, the Yuan Yang is more 50-50 coffee and milk tea. I kind of say that even though no one else says this, it's almost like you're making a tea flavored coffee creamer. Hey, Exchange Student 2, nice to see you. So now we'll go ahead and start the brew because the coffee grounds are all saturated and wet. And it'll take us a couple rounds with the water because the filter doesn't have a ton of room in it. But I fill it to the top and it gets a nice crema on top while it's brewing. It flows right through nicely, but it still keeps out the fines. So the way this drink kind of originated, it has a lot of controversy around it. As always, good coffee drinks or tasty coffee drinks that get popular, people always got to fight about where it came from. Now, in coffee rumor mills, there is a person from Hong Kong named Luhan Che, and generally gets credited a lot with creating the Yuan Yang. The Yuan Yang is actually a fusion beverage. It actually comes out of the culture mesh from when the British occupied or were in charge of Hong Kong. So, oh, just Renee's noticing that I said saturated instead of the M word that they really hate. But yes, I can't promise that that won't come out during this stream once or twice because it's a very descriptive word. But I will try-ish. So, anyways, it's this hybrid. It came apart from because afternoon coffees were very traditional in Japanese culture. There were a lot of Japanese who used to travel through in Hong Kong. This beverage, by the way, has evolved and pretty much they have versions in Tibet, in all over Japan. There's a Korean version, a Vietnamese version, Indian version. So it's pretty much become a very globalized sort of beverage. Not one that we see as often in the United States, although we do wish we did. I seem to be getting a lot of pings, but I don't really know what from, and I'm going to just try and ignore them for the moment. If it's someone from the stream, pop it into the chat so I can see it. But, oh, hey, hi, Raikwen, good to see you. So I'm just going to keep working on my coffee, getting that going. Like I said, it's a smaller filter, so it takes me a few more pours to get all the fluid in there. But you want a good sturdy coffee to really hold us up. Anyway, so the Luhan Xie, what he noticed in about the 80s, that the Japanese people liked cold coffee with milk in the afternoons, and the British loved their afternoon teas. And there you go. 1 + 2 = 3, Yuan Yang. So it's a lot of that history surrounding it. Another piece from these beverages comes from the idea that afternoon tea was kind of elaborate. So, and in a busy Asian countries, lengthy afternoon teas simply were not necessarily as culturally acceptable. And so that afternoon pickup sort of becomes condensed. So that's another sort of story time to go with it. All that kind of fun stuff. So what do we got here? More hellos. OP's pointing out that the chai latte came from this kind of idea. That's true. The chai latte is out of India, very similar, but that's definitely all tea and not coffee, although there is a chai coffee tea blend, usually with an espresso shot, and we will definitely be doing that sometime. It's a dirty latte is what the chai espresso comes from, is called. So if you like chai flavoring in your lattes, but you like your espresso good and strong, order it dirty, and that'll get your chai spice in there. A little more on the brew process here. So, as you can see, this time we had a little bit more history and a little less loosey-goosey than we've been the last couple streams. Give this little end here a bit of a stir. As you remember, when we stir coffee, it helps bring things to the top. You just want to go a couple times one way and a couple times the other way. You're not trying to stir up the grounds, just kind of get the water flowing and moving a little bit in the middle. So, phew. Oh, and OP says they often put a cardamom pot in the coffee basket. Oh, that sounds good. I love cardamom. It's one of my favorite flavors. So, On Cool Kid Keto says that the dirty chai latte is one of their favorites. So I agree, it's super delicious. Spices go really well in both coffee and tea. So again, another reason that this fusion really works out nicely. So my grind might have been a little small, or I'm just being impatient tonight. I don't know which it is. Probably impatient. It's been a long weekend, and it was a long week before. I don't even know why, but I let myself get all worked up and stressed. And so this is a great way to wind down. Okay. I'll just try and exhibit some patience. So, oh, and Renee also mentions to OP that the cardamom sounds like a great idea. So, I agree. Just you can't really go wrong with your good spices. I'm very fond of cinnamon in my coffee though, and probably because it's an experience I had growing up. So, let's see. A little bit more about the tea. Oh, Lisa said they've never had a chai latte. Well, you know what? You're not that far from me, and I will eventually be in your area. So when I am, I will reach out to you, and we are going out. Oh, and just Renee is saying they hope my stogie helped you relax. I posted a picture on my Facebook after, like, basically I got out of bed and had not stopped all day long. It's just been go, 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 go. And Attila actually says, like, hey, it's like 73 outside. How about a cigar? And I said 100% yes. So I had an iced coffee and a cigar outside. So you would think I would be a bit more lively, but yeah, I still feel kind of ready for bed. So we'll see. But then I'm going to add more caffeine and more caffeine. So who knows? All right. So tea, back on the tea. So tea is also a very healthy sort of beverage because the black tea specifically, it has a lot of antioxidants to it, specifically polyphenols and antimicrobial properties. So they're really beneficial to your digestive system. Pay attention, Warden, this for you. There are studies that show that the black tea consumption can help you reduce stress. Hello, I was way stressed today, so perfect. It has 1% magnesium from the RDA, which is, you know, if you're keto, that's low anyways, so it's almost inconsequential, but not 100%. It helps. The polyphenols include, trigger my memory, the catechins. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Theaflavins, and someone correct me if I'm saying these wrong, but you'll get the idea. The thearubigins. I'm like 98% that that's the correct pronunciation. And all of those things help contribute to a healthier gut biome, as well as to studies that have showed that it helps with stabilization of blood sugars. So as you know, those are two things that are super important to people if you're keto. And disclaimer, I am not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. Don't just start drinking like 10 gallons of black tea and getting the jitters and then not feeling well because it's too acidic and you're actually hurting instead of getting the benefits to your digestive system and say, well, Maitreya on the internet told me this is what to do. And your doctor's like, well, now you have an ulcer. Always test things out. You know, a cup a day is plenty. So, but I'm not giving you medical advice. This is not medical advice. Always talk to your doctor about things like this. If you have, but again, there are medical studies. You can look them up and you can research in journals and find out all kinds of stuff so that you can prepare yourself to ask your medical professional these kind of questions. So there's your nerdity for the evening. Let's see what we've got here. So, the warden says they got a chai instant from Kusa Tea. That sounds good. I'd like to, if you don't mind posting or sharing out that somewhere, I don't mind bringing it to the description of this after it posts up. That sounds delicious. Oh, and OP says in the Eastern countries, tea and coffee are so important to the point of being called rituals, bed tea rituals, and the host puts a hot glass of tea in your hand as soon as they see you're awake. 100%. That's a super. Tea culture is really big, as is coffee. Almost every culture has both elements of coffee and tea cultures and rituals. And I think that's super important. Oh, exchange student says they've got a doggy that they're doggy sitting a sitter coming over in a couple minutes. Oh, nice. Well, I hope that your dogs love the sitter. That's awesome. An exchange student says if there's one not to like, that it's their aunt's little dog. Nice. I love little dogs, as you guys know. I have my crazy little Pomeranian, and I just adore him, even when he is extra crazy. Some days I have to, tell him it's time to shut up. For reals. But, he's the best little cuddler. He's just like a giant cotton ball of floof. So, I'm in favor of dogs. And Caboodle Bry says he needs to drink all of the tea over the last few weeks. Well, tea is great for you all around. So green tea has other properties that are separate from black tea. I add some more fluid here to my coffee brew. Just because I'm greedy and I used plenty of coffee, so I can. And that's the only thing, is that the coffee takes a little bit longer than the tea, but that's all right because we don't mind that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead while we wait for this last bit to come through. Well, I say last bit, but we might do another round. I don't know. We've got plenty of time. I'm going to go ahead, now that my tea is looking nice, I'm going to go ahead and add it in and make my milk tea. Make sure I get the condensed milk. So the heat is actually going to mix my, it's going to melt that condensed milk. And I just give it a stir. And as you can see, it's really light. Milk tea is super, super light. And I forgot to turn my sound off, so you might hear all the pings from the 9 million messages that are coming through over on Facebook because I forgot to close the tab, and I'm just going to leave it like that. So, come on, coffee. I'm all impatient, but the coffee has not even been brewing like a whole 5 minutes. And sometimes it takes a little bit of extra time. It takes like 4 to 5 minutes to steep good coffee, so I could just slow my roll. It has not been all that long. So let's see what we've got. Oh, and Lisa's asking about white teas. Oh, white teas are so nice. They are just incredible flavor-wise. They have properties as well that are really nice for you. They're super relaxing to drink. They are caffeinated, which seems surprising. And we will do a whole episode sometime about white teas because they are just pure delight. One of my favorites, though, is a white and Earl Grey blend. And it is just absolutely heavenly. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys. Let's see. Air Fry Auntie says when their friend was fixing their car yesterday, their yellow lab, Maya, likes to play jumping kangaroo with Auntie Shauna and tries to knock her down in hopes for treats. Oh, yeah, we definitely, sometimes I do encourage Dyson to do some jumping, but because he's only 5 pounds, it's not really that big a deal, but a lab might be quite a bit for the jumping. So. And Sharon is asking if I'm going to continue to let the tea leaves to steep. And I'm going to say, for a little bit longer, yes, but before too long, I will take them out. Because if you just leave them in there, you'll get bitters. So I'll probably leave them for another 4 or 5 minutes, but then yeah, they got it. They have to come out of here. 100%. My coffee is taking too long, you guys. Oh, and Air Fry Nanny says yes, that Maya is all muscle. Yeah, and labs are also really tall, as Hoofing It points out. So, and some more hellos back and forth. So, oh, and on my cheese video from Cheese Friday, the Warden, you asked me about vegan or non-dairy cheeses. If you have any that you know of that you'd like me to try, let me know, because I started trying to look around at the stores and I wasn't finding good ingredients. Like, boy, the oils in some of those cheeses are really not good. So now I'm almost wondering, like, do I have to make my own dairy-free cheese? Do I even know how to do that? I don't know. But I'm really invested in this. It was a good question, and unfortunately, because I had to redo the video, the question is gone. So we'll have to put it back up. Oh, and Renee says they've never actually noticed cardamom pods, only the spice. So cardamom pods are actually the seed that they grind into the powdered spice. So yeah, it's nice. They are lovely. If to use the whole cardamom and things that you're brewing, or if you're cooking, put them in and then fish them out after the fact. It's a huge difference, and it's utter delight. And Lisa's encouraging me to do more tea videos, which we will. You know what? There's a lot of Sundays in the course of the year, so we'll definitely get to all the teas. I just happen to be a big coffee nerd. But I also am a big tea nerd, so, you know. I know this is still brewing, but I literally cannot wait. We'll top it off and I'll let it brew some more and then have myself a cup of iced in the morning. But let's make it. I'm going to fill half my mug with this coffee. And I'll top off with some more of this hot water and set this aside for the evening. I keep saying, but you know, I'll finish off my water so that I have a full cup for the morning. A nice, strong, cold iced coffee will be utterly delicious. Let's go ahead and remove the tea from here. Oh, that's still really hot. This has a little handle. Let's get this into my little refuse bag here. And voila. That's a great thing about this, by the way, this teapot, is that it has the little lid and it has the little cone so that you can take the filter out very easily and then still have the heat in there. And the other thing that is great about it is that this is the one that I use for the blooming teas too. So you can also just leave it right like that and then you have your tea bloom in there. Oh, and the Warden says they didn't know of a brand because they have the same experience, crap ingredients. So, yeah, we'll have to work on that. I'm excited to try and find that out and help you out a little bit. I'm not convinced 100% on your dairy issue, though. I think that there are things we can try first to help you. But, okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and add my tea right into the coffee. So now I have what I consider a sweet and light coffee, even though it's tea, because like I said, it does make me think of a creamer. We'll set that off to the side. Got a 50-50 blend now. There you go. So it is really good. It always surprises me. So we will drink that. I'm going to not set it on the crooked part of my table. So let's see what we've got here. Oh, Cool Kid says they wish they could have a cup of coffee right now, but they've got to go to bed soonish. I'm unimpacted by the coffee for sleep. So let's see. Oh, and Cool Kid said they got called into work at 5 a.m. right after the live stream. Ooh, painful. Yeah. So the other thing that I said that we would do tonight is we're going to make a chaffle or chaffle, whichever way you like to say it. You know, tomato, tomato, chaffle. But I said I wanted to try a cornbread chaffle. And I put a link to the original cornbread chaffle that I found. And I just wasn't sold on the recipe. But I'm sure it's delightful, and I encourage people to go see it. I think it might have been at like Low Carb Inspirations or something like that. But as you know, I got to do things my way. So I've got my cheese. It's just grated cheddar. And I've got, about maybe a quarter and an eighth cup of cheese. A heaping quarter cup. Now to that, I am going to add a half cup of pork rind crumbs because I feel that there is a texture component to cornbread that just a regular cheese and egg chaffle can't quite bridge the gap of. So even if their flavor profile is right, I just felt like that was going to be a good add-in to the chaffle and to give it also a good texture. So that's my first difference. The other thing I have is I have chopped up a fresh jalapeno. The original recipe that I posted uses the pickled jalapenos, and it's just not my jam. As much as I love pickled and fermented foods, I don't like pickled jalapenos. I like fresh ones. I just love the flavor, and I feel that it brings a brightness and a citric acidity that once you pickle them, it doesn't have anymore. So I've got my jalapeno, and yes, the whole jalapeno. You can use less if you want. You can use the pickled ones if you like, if that's your thing. Let's see. What have we got here? Oh, and Air Frying Annie says they're having an electrolyte water in one cup and a radical skedaddle bang in the other. I love radical skedaddle. That's my one. I think that's my favorite flavor currently. So, Cool Kid also says they like it. Lisa's asking what the radical skedaddle is. So, Lisa, it's the Bang energy drinks. So, really, they're very tasty. They're also just a bit on the weird side. They are very sweet, though. So, if you don't like sweet, you won't like them. But some of the flavors are very, very odd, but also at the same time delicious. So, you just can't help but keep drinking them. I don't know what that's about. And then Cool Kid Keto is saying that since Hans and them will be doing the B, and E for the next 70 days, they'd like me to work on their Texas toast chaffle since they can't have any. Oh, that does sound like something we could work on. I have some ideas. So, okay, the next thing, I add baking powder to my chaffles. Somewhere I have a teeny tiny 1/8 teaspoon. I'm adding that right in. I feel that it really helps chaffle texture. A lot of people don't use it at all, and that's fine. But I really think it adds a softness to the chaffle. So, and 1 egg. Egg being a critical component of the chaffle. It's cheese and egg. I believe that what you will need at Cool Kid Keto is a waffle, but I do believe we can definitely make you one that is keto compliant. Might require some specialty ingredients, but we'll see. Second to last thing I'm adding is corn extract. It doesn't have any actual corn in it. It's an artificial corn flavoring, so sometimes we compromise on our things, but it's only a 1/4 teaspoon. And I don't mind once in a while. I like it. It tastes good. I feel like that's what's going to give it the corn flavor. Leave it out if you don't want it. That's the nice thing. Now, the very last ingredient. Salt. And I've got my handy dandy salt grinder. This is your standard Redmond sea salt, the coarse grind. And I'm just going to throw a generous amount in there. You don't have to go too crazy. You don't want it to be too salty because the pork rinds also have salt. Let's see. An agreement from the warden on fresh jalapeno versus pickles. Air fry and Auntie agrees. Being on the weird side is cool. Hungry, he says that when he adds pork panko instead of chaffle, would like to call them chaffles. I've heard that before too. That makes sense. But I'm using the waffle maker, and I do have cheese and egg, so it qualifies. Oh, and Lisa says they had the raspberry hibiscus bang drink and thought it was decent. I don't think I've tried that one, but I did pick one up, and it's just on my shelf. So the next thing we do is I'm mixing my chaffle batter. And air frying. Aunt Andy says they've got an corn tortilla extract. Ooh, I'm gonna look that up. Because I actually have added this a few times by making the Indigo Neely egg powder and gelatin crepes or tortillas, whatever you want to call them, or wraps, however you want to call them or use them. And I've added a little corn extract to them, and I think that they're really quite good with that. Sharon says they pack their Redmonds. I don't go anywhere without some salt. And I don't mean like, I don't mean that sounds like a crazy thing, but like, I guess I shouldn't say anywhere. I don't necessarily take my salt to the grocery store, but if I'm going out somewhere and I know I'm hitting up a restaurant, or especially when I'm going cycling, I take my little individual tube of the salt. I find that it's just really super handy. Let's see. And Lisa says they need to invest in some corn extract. My drink is too full, so let's have some more. It's really nice. It's definitely different. I'm going to have to try sometime without the sweetener and see what happens if I have just tea and coffee, or if the milk or the condensed milk is a critical flavor to making this work. Because you know how I love my black coffee. Anyways, so now that I've got my batter all mixed together, I'll show you how it's looking. And get it up for a second. So you can see it's a scoopable. Sometimes I see that people worry about this being too thick. But just, chaffle batter is not supposed to be batter like your old-fashioned standard American diet pancake batter. It's not how it works. It works by the cheese melting together with your binders and then crisping and cooking up in the little waffle maker. So it needs to be scoopable because your waffle maker will press it and it will expand. And OP says they also always have the mini shaker in their purse. J-Dog has joined us. Hey, I'm glad you didn't have to miss again. How is it going for those of you going on the cruise? That packing getting ramping up a little bit? And I saw that Air Fry and Auntie said they had a 4-hour mall trip. Share with us what you got. J-Dog said they made Carolyn Ketchum all day dream about food bloggers version of the keto waffles. It was easy, but a little bit gritty. They used their kitchen stand mixer, and it was very tasty, and made 3 big dash Belgian waffles. I don't have the big dash. I have my little Yanmo 2 plate with the removable plates. I've been considering picking up one of the dash Belgian waffles, but I haven't done that as of yet. So I'm definitely hearing, I'd love to hear more for those of you who have this device that J-Dog is mentioning, the Dash Belgian waffle maker. I'd love to hear more of the experiences you guys have using that. So, all right, so I'm gonna open my chaffle maker, my mini dash. I've got my honeycomb. You know I love that one, and I always put a good heaping scoop. I have my small cookie scoop, and I just plop that in. I give it a little squish, and you put it down. I probably could have put even just a little more batter in there, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be giant and full. It takes about 3 minutes. So now we can let that go, and then we can taste it and see if it has a cornbread taste or not. Of course, I haven't had cornbread in so long, I don't even know if I would remember what real cornbread tastes like. I'm kind of intrigued because, a couple years ago, I went to a holiday gathering where other people were also keto, but they used a lot of, what was that? That Carb Master or Carb Smart? I can't remember. That mix. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Carb Quick, that's what it is. And to make biscuits and stuff, and I can't have that because it has wheat, and it really just tears me up inside. And so I found a recipe online for keto cornbread muffins that were almond flour, and it also had cheddar cheese and jalapenos in it, and they were really quite good. I felt like the almond flour had the right texture for giving it a cornbread kind of flavor. So I'm interested in seeing how these come out. Let's see. The warden said they've done a little more packing, but they still have a few more things to get together. And Reichwin says they bought a Belgian waffle maker from Salvation Army, and it was only $12, but still in the box. So it works well for keto waffles. Nice. Yeah, OP, yes, Carb Quick. So Carb Quick is a keto baking mix that's supposed to be like Bisquick, but just like a lot of those prepackaged keto stuff, it's full of wheat. And as you know, wheat is just horrible for us. So I can't recommend it, even if it's delightful tasting. To me, it's not truly a keto ingredient that's good to indulge in. Now, I do know a lot of people who like it and a lot of people who can use it, but I just think wheat would be too far down the rabbit hole for me, and I don't generally think that wheat is a healthy ingredient. So it's a really low tier thing, and because I have celiac, wheat is an absolute zero no. So, yep. So, I'll share with you another fun little nerd thing about this. So the Yuan Yang drink. In Mandarin, Yuan Yang refers to Mandarin ducks. Mandarin ducks are a symbol of conjugal love. So, and also a symbol of that conjugal love, and also has like this meaning of like opposites attract. So to me, it's really fitting for the drink because coffee and tea are sort of like opposites, but yet they seem to blend together in this weird little concoction of a beverage. And as you know, in my world, coffee equals love. So it's a full circle. So there's my fun little nerd moment for you guys. So, J-Dog, you never have to apologize for being late or missing. It's just a live stream. And you spent all day cleaning out the home, office, and computer room. Hopefully to be done this week so the remodeler can scrape the popcorn ceiling and painting. Oh man, getting rid of the popcorn ceiling? Nice. Our house was built in the 70s, so everything has that damn popcorn ceiling. And we have a part where we had a roof leak, and we've patched over it, and it needs, we did some painting, but it's smooth where everywhere else has popcorn. And I'm trying to decide if we just need to buy the plaster and go ahead and you know, popcorn up the smooth part, which just kills me because it's not the 70s no more, and it's like a crime. They never should have done that to the ceilings. Oh, Airfry and Auntie said they went to Macy's and returned shorts and bought sandals at 30% off. Nice. J-Talk says, I said conjugal. That's the best part. But yeah, that's what that means. And this chaffle is still steaming, so it's not ready yet. But I'm going to peek. It looks good. I'll give it just a couple more seconds, a couple more minutes. Just like regular waffles, you kind of want that steam to die down. Although if you can open it and you can peel it up, it's probably done. Waiting, waiting, waiting. So. Oh, and Just Renee says, it just seems like we've come so far to make so many improvements to ourselves, so why take a chance on reintroducing inflammatory ingredients? I'm right there with you. And we talked about that recently as well on the last live stream when I was talking about using the coconut aminos and not having soy sauce, because soy is very inflammatory. So, and I will say that even though my neurologist does not care about soy, but my oncologist does. So I'm going to go with what the oncologist says. Just say no to soy. All right, let's see. Yep, lifts right off. And we just, throw that onto the plate because it's super hot. Yeah, I could have used a little more batter, but you can see it's nice and chaffly. I'm burning my finger, so I'm going to set it back down. Oh, Hungry Heath says 1970s was popcorn and fur downs everywhere. I'm kind of on board with the fur, though. I love fuzzy stuff, and if it's up to me, I mean, you guys have seen my granny square dresses, so I'm down with that part of the 70s. And I still like shag carpet, too, even though it's a nightmare to upkeep. And Renee says whenever a recipe calls for soy sauce, they definitely use coconut aminos and can't tell the difference. I don't know if I can tell the difference, but I do think it tastes really good. I like coconut aminos. I'm going to start another chaffle just because we can while we're chatting. Fill it up. See, my batter has come together and really nicely. We got nothing better to do. We can make all the chaffles we want. And that just means that in the morning, I'll have chaffles for breakfast. I've got 2 things here to try on this cornbread chaffle. So I'm going to cut it in half. It's crispy, which is perfect. Chaffles are supposed to be crispy. So I have got butter and then my homemade cream cheese. I thought both of those things would be great to try on the cornbread chaffle. But since you normally have butter on cornbread, or at least I normally have butter on cornbread, that's what I'm going to put on this first half. I think that's appropriate. I think that's how we should try it. Because why not? It's really delicious. I don't taste cornbread. Possibly it's my pork panko, because it is a little pork rind forward. But it is really tasty. I can 100% recommend this recipe. What do we got going on here? J-Dog saying American wall. Oh, that's just terrible. I don't think you need to put it on the walls. I think they're fun, like to have like the big fuzzy carpets or like furry throws on the couch, things like that. And Airfryer Andy says the 70s and bell-bottom jeans were horrible for short and uncoordinated. Oh, they were, but by the way, bell-bottoms came back. I don't know if they're gone yet. They might have come and gone again already. Oh, the warden says they're having a lemon coffee by Kusa, and it's pretty good. A lemon coffee? How intriguing. I'd be interested in trying that. So, Oh, and Hungry He says the fur down is an enclosed area between the cabinets and ceiling. Oh, I'm learning stuff. I don't know if that's a... Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. I thought you were just talking about the gaudy decorations. So cool. I love learning new stuff. And somebody had to say it, J-Dog. J-Dog says, that's what she said. Yeah, probably for the best. An exchange student, too, says that Maria Emmerich talks about the Hill non-dairy products for what it's worth. So, yep. Oh, and Air Fry and Annie says that some things should not return, like prairie dresses. I agree. Them prairie dresses are hideous. Why did they make a comeback? I don't get it. Oh, but Air Fry and Auntie says they do like my crochet dresses, so that's nice. So I appreciate that. That's nice. But Cool Kid Keto's laughing at all our merkin and fur down jokes. So, so definitely very tasty with butter. So I might have to try this recipe again using the maybe coconut or almond flour to see if it has less pork rind flavor. But I will say the jalapeno and the cheddar with the pork makes a darn tasty chaffle. And Renee says they dig the 70s and bohemian decor. They used to have a large shag rug that they've been hunting, and they've been hunting for another. Yeah, I love that. And our house has a lot of 70s colors on the inside, but our outside, the outside of our house is awesome and gothy. It's black and white. And right now we've got like that really old 1970s metal door, screen door, you know, with the glass panes and the elaborate decorative metal. But it's starting to show its age. And we were just talking about that tonight. And I think that we want to paint it red just so we get that full alternative color scheme going. I think it'll really pop nicely and be rather unique. So that looks good. Oh, Renee says that these chaffles would be great as Heath's chaffle fries. Ooh, that's a good idea. So I think the next thing to do is to see how they are with the cream cheese. So oh, the cream cheese really works nicely. It plays off that salty pork rindness. I kind of wish I had added a little bit more spicy chili flakes in there because the jalapeno is tasty, but it doesn't add like any heat to it. And unfortunately, I don't have any chili flakes down here, or I would toss a little sprinkle in. But that's okay. Not everything has to be burn my tongue off hot, I suppose. I think that what this will be great is in the morning with a poached egg on top of it. And then I smoked some big chicken sausages this afternoon and have that on the side. I'll post a picture in some of our groups tomorrow. And Cool Kid Keto says that they don't think that a lot of the folks know what a merkin is. They only know because they watch so many drag queens. I would think that actually seeing people who wear kilts would also help with that. But we're laughing. Oh, the warden says they Googled it. I don't even know what to say about that. That probably we probably should have said don't Google it, but Well, I gotta tell you guys, I'm having a great night eating these chaffles in front of you. Mm. The warden says they worked at a doctor's office that the wife psychiatrist decorated in 70s green and mirror wallpaper and matching shag carpet. Oh, that sounds fantastic to me. I would love that scheme. Hungry He says the best thing to arrive from the 70s was him, but I was also born in the 70s, and also sounds like the warden was too. So, okay, so this one is all set and done. Ooh, very hot. Let's put that on the plate. So, let's go ahead and keep going. Because why not? I'm not going to eat all of these tonight. I'll probably eat one more, but I have plenty of batter to make several. So there we go. This one is crispier than the first one, so it's a little well done, but that's all right. They're delightful, and I'm not remotely sorry about it. Let's see, and J-Dog says they used to drink a beer called the Velvet Merkin from Firestone Walker. They were forced to change the name to Velvet Merlin due to ATF board finding out what a Merkin was. Oh, that's just so silly. And plus the names are just hilarious. J-Dog says they were a 60s kid. Stacy says they were too, and I believe that's to a 70s kid. Efron Auntie says 60s kid as well. And J-Dog says go to incognito mode. We have to use Chrome for that. Does IE have an incognito mode? I don't know. Anyways, I'm really enjoying my drink tonight. It's a little bit weird to have the milk tea in there. The milk is a little different for me. It's not bad. It's still delicious. I'm just not used to it. So. And then Hungry Heath is asking if he really wants to see it. And I think the answer to that is yes, yes, yes. You should. And Lisa was born in 69. Boy, where is Richard from the Weathers channel when you say that? I believe his singing would be highly appropriate for that. Maybe you can be serenaded at this year's Keto Palooza. Ooh, and Renee's asking if anyone has tried to adapt the pommes frites with duck poutine. Ooh, no, but you know what? I wonder if jicama fries would work for that. I was actually trying out a chaffle recipe using shredded jicama, and I don't quite got it down, but it's pretty good, and I'm going to work on it a little more so I can share that out, because that'll be pretty awesome. And Lisa says they used to love drinking milk in their tea. So what about now? Have you tried making a bulletproof tea? I've done that before with my black tea and frothed in a little bit of butter to it. It's really delightful. So if you liked that milk tea or milky tea in the past, you might try that. Well, pseudo serenaded air frying auntie says, and I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. I don't know if they're, I started to try and look at the schedule and I got distracted and forgot because we need to do some planning. And Reichman says they feel old, they're a 50s kid. No, that's fine because there comes a time where the gap starts shrinking. I'll tell you what was the killer was yesterday. I was talking to other staff for OhioCon where I just took the department head for a tabletop. Amongst discovering that I'm definitely the oldest person on staff at the anime at 50, as they all chose to share at that point that they were all turning 22, 23, 25, and one person turned 30. And I was like, well, my kid is turning 20 this summer, so but it's good though. They're all delightful and really hard workers, so I couldn't be more pleased. But it definitely hit me when I was like, wow, these people are the same age as my kid, basically. I never felt like the difference between 20 and 25 was really ginormous because of the way you're still developing and growing and having all of the experiences of university and first jobs and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure there, but and then I feel like then suddenly you hit 30 and you're like full adulthood at that point. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just sort of the way my life went, and I just sort of wide sweepingly applied that to everyone else. I could be very wrong. I mean, technically, I started with my first little jobs, at the age of 14 when you were allowed to work in your restaurants as like dishwashers and waiting on tables and stuff. But, I didn't have a professional job at a corporation until, early 20s. Oh, the warden is asking if Renee has combined tea and coffee. And Renee says their love of tea stemmed from their mom and the coffee from their dad growing up with a Navy style brew. That's some sturdy coffee in the Navy. And Renee says they've tried a half and half made by their Japanese friend. Well, there you go. So that's the influence. I'm going to try this just plain for a second. And Raikwen says when you start looking at your coworkers and think they should belong in high school, you've gotten old. Well, thanks a lot, Raikwen, because can I just tell you, when I started my job, I felt like a very young person, and that was about 12 years ago. And now I'm there, and a lot of people are starting to retire, and we're not finding the developers that we need because they don't work in COBOL anymore. And so we're kind of feeling that pinch and more urgency to change the systems up, which is what we're working on. But also in other parts of the corporation, I'm seeing newer people come in, and that's exactly the feeling that I get is you see some of them and they do look to me like they should be in high school, but I know that they're not. I will also say, though, that I have a really good friend who is in his 40s now, and he looks like he should be in high school. And I always love that story that we tell about the time that we went to dinner, and we went to this place, and I had like some big German sausages and a bunch of food, and my friend had also had a bunch of food. And at the very end, the restaurant was famous for these giant cream puffs. Literally, they're the size of your head. And he said, I'm going to order a cream puff. And the waitress didn't write anything down, but then looked at me like waiting for my permission. Like, was I really going to let my kid order that big giant cream puff? And I was like, oh, no. They're their own grown up. So it's like that was a little bit of a smack down there. Oh, and Raikwen says they started so long ago with COBOL. Yeah, I have a coworker who can also tell the story of the pain of walking down the hallway and then tripping and dropping all their punch cards. So, that's just where we're at. And it scares me a little bit because we all used to talk about, since we all love our jobs and everything, we hadn't really started feeling our age nearly quite as much. But as the retiring is happening, He has so much knowledge and intelligence, and after a while, you just sort of get very intuitive about some of these IT systems. And he recently was like, I'd like to cut back my hours. And that's the talk that says I'm getting ready to retire in the not too far future. So, yeah, the time is coming where we have to really start looking at stuff. J-Dog says COBOL, they programmed with that in college and didn't think these programming languages, Fortran, PL1, COBOL, RPG, etc., are all still used. C++ they know is. Yeah, so just so you know, J-Dog, one of the issues I encountered last year is that I am not a developer anymore and haven't been for decades. But I'm just smelling the chaffles cooking. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, so one of the issues we encountered is as a result of some of the work effort I was doing, I found a program nobody had touched in a really, really, really long time because there was no need. It just had been working. But the changes we're making now, suddenly we realized, uh-oh, we need to make an update to that program. And we finally, after digging forever, found the code. And we were looking at the code. And pretty much everyone was like, I don't know what this is. And I stared at it for about half an hour and realized I could read little bits and pieces, but not all of it. When it occurred to me, well, dang it. And that's not the word I used. This is Pascal. So, and I found someone else, and we had to put out actually a corporate-wide email going, hey, who's still here that knows Pascal? And then we had to figure out how to get, to move it into Delphi and how to get Delphi onto a Windows 10 environment. So it was a good time all around. More chaffle. Whew. This is exciting, guys. So now I've not only given you guys some IT stuff, and we had a little history note about some of the stuff happening with the Asian countries, and we talked about some of the health attributes of the black tea. What else do we need? I thought you guys should know that upcoming, I've got a quick pickle video, and it's too bad Sky can't join us tonight. I'm going to make this Mondo chaffle that is going to overflow because I am too impatient to make two teeny tiny chaffles. And I'm going to have such regrets. But it'll be good because then you guys can see what happens when you overflow your dash. Oh, and J-Dog says, Pascal, they never took a formal class on that. Well, these things happen. Oh, and Just Renee says, speaking about the size of your head, they love the local Mexican meat markets that have the fresh pork skins larger than their head. Oh, yes, nice. Yeah, I can see it bubbling now. So the cheese is going to overflow any minute now. Maybe I'll look out and it'll start firming up before it has a chance to overflow. Oh, and Air Fry Nanny says that my dash is invisible due to the green screen effect. I hadn't even noticed that. That's hilarious. So, yeah, I've been thinking that I might have to start looking for some fabric to make myself a cool background that we just use all the time so that we don't have to use the green screen. Although I really enjoy the green screen effects, but I'm just wondering if with all the cooking, it might be beneficial to go ahead and try that. I don't know. I really don't. But Like, for instance, I started my kimchi videos, and there's a couple of parts where just because I really wanted you guys to be able to see some of the things, that I had to turn all of the filters off and get rid of the green screen. So now behind me, you just see a big ugly green curtain. But on the other hand, then you can see, like, you know, the cabbage. But it is what it is. You know, things aren't perfect, and that's okay. So just to recap, Yuan Yang, original would be 3 parts coffee, 7 parts black milk tea. Modern day, 50-50. And we made the modern 50-50. Origins in Hong Kong. It's a common street food beverage. So it doesn't have ties to royalty like a lot of the historical beverages we've talked about. Available to everyone. It's a great fusion beverage. So it's going to be awesome. It's great iced. So super nice and refreshing in the afternoons if you've had it over ice. And, you know, for those Satan's front porch days of summer, it'll be a great icy beverage to have. And then we talked again about the antimicrobial benefits from the antioxidants of the black tea. So, is there anything else you want to ask? Or any other questions you need? And then I'm interested in any other requests you have for upcoming videos. Just so you know, what I have on the agenda is the quick pickles, which is going to be ready to go. I've got the KETOFIED kimchi in progress. I will do some a fermented chili sauce, which I think you guys will really love when you get a hold of that. And Renee says to me, outside temps are never too hot for hot coffee. I agree with you, but I also like cold beverages as well. And why not both? I will tell you, one time I went to a keto meetup locally, and it was hilarious because it was like the AC wasn't working right in the restaurant and everybody else was dying. And I was sitting there asking the waitress for coffee, and I was like, just plain black coffee, brew me some coffee. And so I'm sitting there while everybody else is like, I can't believe you're drinking coffee. But coffee equals love, so I had to have it. So I'm just trying to think of anything else I was forgetting. Oh, also, I did see, since it came up on the 2 Crazy Ketos video, that people were asking why we needed to eat fat. And I saw that they came out with their video. I said I would do one, and I'm putting that together, but I really want to get you some beefed up resources for that, to have some hard cold interest. There's actually some really cool stuff out there by one of the doctors from the Cleveland Clinic. He's a huge keto invested individual. For what it's worth, there are a lot of things wrong with Ohio, but anti-keto is not one of those things. We have a huge low carb and keto kind of culture here because Dr. Volek has his research center at OSU. And then we've got some low carb and keto and high fat proponents writing books and stuff out of Cleveland Clinic. You know, as you know, we've got some keto proponents out of our cancer treatment centers. So in that aspect, it's really good here. So I really wanted to put something extra, just go and really deep dive it for you guys. So I'm putting that together, and I'll try and get that taken care of. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week. So there's that. And in case you haven't noticed, the warden's been asking about some dairy-free options. And I've had several side conversations with 5 or 6 people where we've been talking about gut health. So I'm also putting a little bit of something about that together. And I think, so that's what I've got on my horizon so far. So I'd like to know what other things you want to see or talk about. Oh, and Airfry and Auntie was saying that while they were stranded at the car shop, they found a taco truck who made them the keto cheese tortilla carnitas taco. I saw that picture. That looks so good. And thanks, Renee, for reminding everybody to hit the like button. That really helps the channel out. Other things that help channels, just so you know for the future, is comments on videos and watch time on videos. Those are like the two really important things. YouTube loves it when your videos have lots of comments, but they love it when they think people are watching your videos as well. So this is a weird algorithm things that they look for. Renee says they used to get a cashew cheese that was clean and they liked, but they can't find it anymore. Oh, that's good to know. I'll do some research. I think this is really fascinating. I think it's super fascinating, but duly noted, all of these fermented food things that I'm talking about with the quick pickles and the canned pickles and fermented, sauerkraut and kimchi and these chilies and stuff like that. Just, fermented foods are also really good for your gut health. So we definitely want to talk a little bit more about those health proponents there. Algorithm. Oh, I didn't get what you were saying for a minute. Algorithm. Okay. I know P says I'm almost to 300 subscribers. That's super cool. I'm excited. I love that because I really like when we interact. This is my favorite part of the whole week. So. Still waiting for my Gigando chaffle to finish cooking. And we are all done. So I'm going to unplug this dash so it can cool off. By the way, I know a lot of people who talk about cleaning their dashes and they say they just use a damp paper towel while it's hot and press it down. I don't know what I do wrong, but that does not clean my little mini dashes. So I let them cool, and then I take them over to the sink, and I have a little very soft bristle brush, and I do a little squirt of dish soap, and I just give it a scrub down with my brush, and I put it in the dish rack and let it air dry for 24 hours, and it's been perfect every time. And Renee says they're glad that they got to make it this week. I'm glad too. I really love when you are around and contributing to the conversation. So, and as you can see, my little chaffle recipe here made 4 chaffles because I ate one, and then here are the other 3. I actually thought that the cream cheese tasted better than the butter, and I would like to add a little punched up chili flake to it in addition to the jalapeno. And Renee says the damp paper towel never works for them either with their impatient mess making self. Yep. So that's what I do to clean these chaffle makers. It's a ton easier. And with that, I believe we are done for the evening. So if I can find my mouse, here it is, without burning myself. That's everything. And we can all get together. We'll see you. I'll see probably a lot of you tomorrow on the 2 Crazy Ketos, Keto on the Couch. And we'll start everything all over for the week. And I will have a video released tomorrow with some quick pickles. So you all have a good weekend. I've really enjoyed spending time with you. And, oh, Sharon's heading to California for a week. Oh, very envious about that. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.